Welcome, Tirthak, to our show, Day Out with a Star.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's really a great honor to be on your show, and I hope I can do it justice.
Educate our viewers. Can you just tell us quickly, what is this Forbes 30 Under 30 award?
Well, it's more of a culmination of one's entire career trajectory, where Forbes seeks out the best, the people that they think have the most potential to disrupt or have the most positive impact in their industries. And the thing is that they have to be under 30 years of age.
Right.
So, some people say, "Oh, you're 29, and you're already making such a big impact." But I also know a lot of people. Like, I actually met this girl who's also from Indiana, and she's like 15 years old, and she's also on the list. So, it's just a recognition of people who have the potential to change the future of their industries.
Right. And for me personally, that means that you are the smartest Indian environment professional in the world. Tell me, does that bother you, or does that make you proud?
Being called the smartest person in my industry?
Yeah.
No, that it doesn't bother me, but I definitely don't think that it's true. It's by no means. Like, I can start by naming 29 other people who are equally as smart, if not more. The people who share the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, and there's a lot of people in my industry who are doing really great work. Some are on this list, and some get the publicity. Some like to work, behind the scenes. So, there's a lot of my peers who are doing amazing work in this industry, and I do believe that I'm far from the smartest.
No, you are very humble, but before I dive in on what you actually do and how you did it, who is Tirthak Saha? Tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you came to India, to US. That will really educate our viewers on the trajectory.
Sure. I grew up in a really typical, well, I wouldn't say typical, but a middle-class family in New Delhi. My father is a teacher, and my mom's a government employee. So, it's a pretty usual background to come from if you're a middle-class family in Delhi. I went to St. Columba's School in New Delhi, and I made some of my best connections with friends and lifelong friends there, and I'm still in touch with a lot of the teachers. I never was the best student. I have no shame in admitting that. Well, I was never a good student in that academic framework that's prevalent.
Right. Yeah. It's like again, saying that you are not a good student or a bad student is a very subjective thing, right?
Right. Yeah, but still, for general purposes, I was never a very good student, but what I was a very good learner. I always wanted to learn more about different kinds of things. So, I tried my hands at a lot of things, and eventually, I ended up landing up in getting interested in engineering, and specifically in the energy industry, because I do believe that that's at the core of a lot of tomorrow's applications and the future technologies. So that's how I came to be interested in this industry. And then, I went to university at Manipal University in the South of India. And then I transferred out to Drexel University, where I worked on a couple of research projects with NASA, Pennsylvania Space Grant Commission, and a few some independent research projects. And, with the point was that with each project, it wasn't a milestone as much as it was a learning moment for me. So I just became more and more involved in this industry that I came to love and wanted to do something about it. So I just kept on learning. Then I got internships, and then I finally got my job, and someone noticed all the work I was doing, I suppose, and Now I'm on the Forbes 30 under 30 list.
Yeah. So basically, like now, right now, you are carrying the ambition of millions of young Indians who look towards the West as a path towards building
Right.
a great career. So, what is your message to them? If someone wants to do another Tirthak Saha thing, how should he go about it?
Well, the first thing I would say is don't try to be me. Be yourself. Everyone has different strengths, and if you try to be some other person, you'll most definitely fail.
Right, exactly.
Take the bad, learn from the bad, and the good. I've made mistakes, so learn
Yes,
from my
exactly.
mistakes. But one point that I would say is try your hand at a variety of things. I recently did an interview with my friend Jake Voorhees for his channel, The One Person Engineer. It's on YouTube. I think you saw that too.
Right.
So it's the same answer that I gave him. Try your hand at a variety of things, see what you're good at, learn what you're not good at, and find your passion. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
You'll make a lot of mistakes, and you learn, and you'll take the good lessons from that. And every mistake actually makes you stronger. So ultimately, you'll get to a point where you're very comfortable in some arena of life, and you're very knowledgeable about it, and then you'll start contributing to the world, making a positive impact.
Right.
And
No.
all of it.
So I think before I ask you another question, there are a few comments right here. Clara Masters says, "Yay, Tirthak, so proud of you." Woods is saying, "Great stuff, Tirthak Saha. Love all the limelight you are getting from this." Jake Booters is here. He's saying, "Dr. Manson Mans, thank you so much." So many people are right now looking forward to you. And then one question just comes to my mind. How can you create brand Tirthak?
Well, so the answer to that is a little more complicated than just a few simple steps, right? It's not a 10 steps to creating a personal brand. I don't think that's how it works. I may be wrong, but I don't think that's how it works. I think at the core of it, it's what I said. You just try to find what you're good at, right?
Right.
Find different ways of doing it. Like, at the risk of sounding arrogant, I'm good at engineering, specifically the energy sector. Right? Now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, okay, what can I do with this knowledge that I've gathered through different projects that I've done?
Right.
And I write a blog. I try to break down complex scientific advancements in my field and others to the best of my understanding for the layperson, so that create a conversation. I go to board meetings at the local university, and I try to influence how the curriculum is set up. So it's not about creating a brand. It's just about doing the things that you like doing and that you're good at in as many possible outlets that you have access to. Right. And now with the internet, you have access to a plethora of things. So just do what you love to do. Be passionate about it. If you're an architecture student, start a Tumblr. Start informing people about architectural concepts. Just find things you love doing and find different avenues to do it, and eventually over time you'll be the guy who does this, and this.
Right. And again, like Hanuman Singh is asking the same question. He's saying, hello, sir, what you would suggest for beginners like me? So again, there's no beginners, right?
No, there's that. Yeah, that's a concept that I don't ascribe to. There's no beginners and there's no experts. I'm definitely not a beginner, and I'm definitely not an expert, right? So what would you call me? So I'm, every day is a beginning, and every day you're gaining more knowledge. So to Hanuman Singh, I would say that you're more of an expert than a person who is younger than you in age or experience. So what I would just suggest is just try learning every day. Wake up and just learn more, try to improve your knowledge, read books, read magazines, watch TV shows, listen to podcasts if you can, and whatever you like doing, just try to imbibe more and more knowledge and become more and more of an expert.
All right. So yeah, it's something like that. That if you are good in a particular field in your own way, that niche is your world, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And here, let me come back to your background again. So you are a smart grid engineer, right? So what does a smart grid engineer do? What is it about?
Well, actually, I'm a grid modernization engineer.
Okay.
Smart grid, the smart grid stuff is actually just a suite of technologies that I use as part of my job. So basically, what my job is, and I don't believe that this position existed before I was hired. They created this position, and they were looking for a good match. So what my job is finding. It's an effort to modernize and revamp the electric grid, specifically in my company's territory.
Right.
So I do one part research into new technologies that are coming in that could assist the electric grid in becoming better. And one part is doing all the financial evaluation and kind of like doing future forecasting. Like, okay, if we deploy this kind of technology, how would that impact us like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? And the last part is just, kind of like creating a culture where everyone's like, yeah, innovation is good. New technologies are helpful. Getting everyone on board, getting the ball moving, that kind of thing. So it's basically a 3-part job. And the underlying motivation is to modernize an aging electric grid so we can support every other industry to the best of our capabilities.
Right. So since I'm from, I run the Indian Environment Network, Paryavaran.com, with thousands of environment professionals. So I wanted to know a little more about how can you relate this grid modernization to energy efficiency and basically saving the environment.
Right. And again, as part of my job, I do run a lot of programs that are focused on energy efficiency. There's maybe some technology which automatically turns off like the second or the fourth row of lights in a large supermarket when not many people there. These kinds of things, making our transmission and delivery distribution lines more efficient in carrying the power from point A to point B, so that we can send more power and lose less, generate less. Less generation means less burning of fossil fuels. That's the first step. And the second step, as it relates to specifically environmental issues, is we're trying to look into and invest more and more into renewable energies, trying to develop an infrastructure where that is possible. Right now, the country is moving towards renewable energy, but infrastructure needs to be better. A conversation needs to be started as to how renewable energies can fulfill 100% of our needs. Right now, we're not there, but that's why people like me are working on issues like that, and that's how it kind of relates to sustainability or environmental engineering.
Right, and in your work, do you see the role of machine learning or artificial intelligence that could lead to more modernization and learning about the network?
So the electric grid is a complex system, right? That's the basic thing we have to understand, and there's a lot of complexities that go into it that are not necessarily caught by human eyes or human brains.
Right.
So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be moving towards, software or technologies that will assist the humans in making failures in electric lines and transformers and electrical equipment by using an AI platform or something like that, where it constantly monitors all the vital systems. and then predicts like, okay, this transformer is going to fail in 6 months, so you might want to start looking into creating a schedule to replace it. So I foresee something like that. And when renewables come into the play, AI is going to be like, it'll be in homes. It'll be telling you through an app or something, hey, if you turn off the lights here and here, or if you turn down your thermostat by 2 degrees, then you can save this much on your bill, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I think something like that in the future.
No, yeah, I think that's where we are going around. I know that I cannot talk about what particularly you do at your work, because that might be a classified information for your company, and it is something huge. But I do understand that you have had mentors who really egged you on in taking such projects. So I just wanted to ask this: what is the role of a mentor in achieving your potential?
Oh, I would just say, like, it's really, really important to find someone who can, see something in you before you see it yourself.
Right.
That's the role of a mentor, right? Because of his or her experience or his or her knowledge. They see potential in you before you see it yourself, and then they create a path for you to get from point A to point B. So I've had a lot of great mentors in my career. I've had professors from Drexel University, Dr. Ajmal Yusuf. I worked closely with him on the NASA projects, and he, I was nervous about working on space systems because as much as I was interested in those, I really had no prior experience to those. And he trusted me. He put me on the team, and he was like, no, I believe in you. Come up with a solution to this and this problem. And, that's the kind of thing you need to find. You need to find someone who sees your potential, who trusts in you.
Right.
And kind of like treats you like an adult instead of like spoon feeding you everything.
Exactly.
I think, so yeah, something like that is what I would say is the role of a mentor.
Yeah, it's just like what we say that when you hire an intern somewhere, you just don't use him for doing the photocopy machine, right?
Right.
You treat him as an adult, and he will prove his potential.
Right, or he won't, and in which case you can fire him.
Right.
That can sound like a joke, but it's really not. If it doesn't work out, move on to the next thing.
Right.
And with my current job, if we have time, I'll tell you.
Yes, certainly. Go ahead.
With my current job, this is my first job out of school, out of uni.
Right.
So I moved from Pennsylvania to Indiana, right? I no one here. Luckily, I met some of the best people. Some of the names you mentioned who are watching, Clara, etc. They're some of the loveliest people I've ever met. But then, first day of job, I'm really nervous because I'm just fresh out of university, and I'm like, man, this is a big job. This is a big responsibility. This is the first time anyone in this company is ever doing something like this, and they're giving like at that time, 24-year-old. I hope they don't just like realize they made a mistake and fire me the next day.
Yes.
So I go up and I meet with my boss, and after the usual introduction, he literally takes me into like a boardroom and a whiteboard, and he starts like drawing out the map of everything, how the company's laid out and how the system works.
Yes.
And then he's like, okay, so we have this and this problem. Here's a few ideas that I have. Please go figure it out. And I'll, tell me what do you think, what your ideas are at the end of the week. I'm like, that's like the first 1 hour of my job.
Okay.
Because he treated me like I know what I'm supposed to do. I went out, I got the confidence to figure it out. So, find yourself like that.
That's certainly amazing. And I see that a lot in the US, that people treat you as an adult everywhere. And they give you a big responsibility right up front. And if you don't prove that worth, you get like a softer responsibility, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's crucially important. The trust factor.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Uh, Here's a question from Sutirtha Das from India.
Mhm.
Tirthak sir, are you planning to come back to India and help in rural electrification since my villages in don't have electricity still? A very relevant question.
Do you have a job for me? No, no. So yes, obviously that's the overarching goal of my career. You know, because that's kind of the thing that started me out on this path.
Mhm.
Um, I've covered it slightly in Jake's YouTube video interview. Is there was a big blackout. I think you might remember it in 2012.
Right,
2012, like most of northern India was out, right?
right,
And that was a very personal experience for me because not having power led to a couple of complications in my own personal life, and you know that kind of affected me
oh
adversely. So
goodness.
I started thinking about that, and that was the tipping point for me. So what I see Jake's comment.
Yeah, Jake said yes. I'll the same, no problem. Yes, Jake's. Yeah, he's
Um,
answering that question.
so yeah, so what I told Jake was, you know that's what started me out on this journey, and you know, uh, I'm grateful for my positive experiences in my career, but I'm also grateful for my negative experiences. So yes, India is home, and that is the overarching goal of my career, to come back and you know kind of apply the lessons that I've learned here. In my home country, and you know help, and there's a lot of like brilliant people working on that issue in India right now. So I just hope that one day I come back and I can be a small part of that movement towards better, uh, more resilient, you know,
Mhm.
electrification of India, especially in the villages. I see the comment right now, especially in the villages, because there's a lot of people, there's millions of people in India without power right now,
Right.
and absolutely astounding to me. And I don't think that India can achieve its full potential without, you know, without focusing on the villages. It's really the heart of India. You know, um, there's so much potential there.
And
So
I see that like a lot of new technologies like solar energy and all these are directly going to rural India. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that are trying that. So I think a start has been made. And
yes, yes,
right. So yeah, if guys like you can carry on that torch, that would be amazing.
right. And you know, like my aim will not only be India. Like if I can, if I get
Yeah.
to that point in my career where I have this body of knowledge, you know, which is useful, then I want to take that wherever it is needed. Maybe in India, maybe in sub-Saharan Africa,
Right.
where the
Right.
problem
Right.
exists. So, you know, let's not limit ourselves to geographical boundaries. Science and technology does not know geographical boundaries.
Mhm.
Um, so I hope that answered his question.
No, and certainly, and that's what like when I was trying to tell you that people see just their boundary when they are working in India or anywhere else. The sky is limit for everyone, and like you have proven that. So it's like anyone who wants to do anything in life
Mhm.
should see beyond what is right there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, that brings me to the next question, Tirthak. What next for Tirthak? You answered some of the questions, but like, how do you see yourself like 5 years, 10 years from now? Whether you are pursuing like from I don't know what happens after Forbes 30 and under 30, whether it's a Nobel Prize or something like that.
Um, there's the Fortune 40 under 40.
Oh yes, yeah, you got me there.
No, I'm obviously just kidding around. What's next for me? So, as much as I like to, you know, as that's kind of my job to look into the future,
Mhm.
uh, but I'm really terrible when it comes to my personal life to plan too far ahead into the future. You know, my career, if you look at it, it's not the most linear
Mhm.
path. So I've learned from my own experience that you know you can't plan too far ahead into the future and have it work out exactly like you planned it. So I kind of am just you know just gonna go with the flow. I'm going to keep doing my research. Hopefully, in the next 5 years, my projects have borne some positive results for the community here. I'm really not looking for any. I know it sounds really facetious when I say this because I just won an award, but I'm not doing it for the recognition. This is just what I like doing.
Right.
It's just leaving a legacy behind for the next generation of engineers or scientific professionals. So I just hope that in the next 5 to 10 years, I can create that platform where people are talking about renewable energy, people are talking about sustainability, people are looking at engineering and going, okay, this is a career where I don't just have to go to an office and sit at a computer, or I don't just have to go to a factory and make machines. It's limited. So that's kind of my next big goal, is to start that, build that platform.
That's a very noble goal. And again, I run the Indian Environment Network at paryawaran.com. So our platform needs mentors like you. And that's how we can make the next generation believe in themselves and believe in their own society. That's what we do, right? Yeah. So you are totally welcome in our family. That's amazing that you came in our path and we crossed our path. Thank you so much for that. But Tirthak, again, what is the path towards success that we are all talking about?
Path towards success. Well, yeah, again, that's really subjective question. It depends on how you personally define success. What I would suggest, and I'm directing my answers to kind of the younger people in the audience.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what we are trying to do right here.
Right. So to them, I would say, please do not let anyone else define what success is for you. Right. Don't look at your neighbor's kid and be like, oh, he's doing X, Y, and Z, and that's like everyone's going after that, so that must be what success is. Just find your passion and keep working towards that. That define your own success, and when you do, here's the funny part: no one will believe in you when you start out.
Right.
But when you believe in your own definition of success, that belief shows, and when it shows externally, then you will attract more and more people to your definition of success. Right. And you'll create a following, and then people will be like, yeah, that looks like success to me. So create your own success, create your own path. Don't listen to me. I'm definitely not the best person to listen to, but if you take away anything from this interview, take this away, is create your own definition of success and just make it something you're passionate about and work towards that.
Yeah, and why I asked you this question is because every day today I am seeing I work daily with environment professionals in India, and I see that a lot of Indian environment professionals with so many dreams to serve the environment and the Mother Earth, after going through all the during the graduate study and everything, sometimes the peer pressure, the family pressure, the money pressure is too much, and they switch to careers like software or something else. So how can we show them that big picture?
Well, it's a mixture of starting a conversation, showing them by doing it yourself, and creating institutions or organizations like you're doing,
right,
where they can come and feel like, yes, I'm supported. My goals and ambitions are not wrong. There's 1,000 other people like me who are doing the same thing. So it's just about creating that environment, and it's going to be a long, tortuous road to that point where everyone's just like, yeah, I can do this for a living. But it needs to start somewhere, and I think that conversation is starting in India, countries like India right now.
Right.
countries like the States, I think that's starting, and people are becoming more and more confident in their own individualistic goals.
Mhm.
Like I said, the personal definitions of success are becoming more and more mainstream. Like just to pick a really bad example, I guess, 20 years ago in India, if you wanted to be a DJ, I don't think that was considered a
Right.
good
Yeah,
choice.
exactly.
But now, because the conversation has progressed so far, and there've been people who have fought and fought and fought and become successful at that. Now people are like, okay, yeah, I can become successful in that. So maybe maybe my kids can become successful in that. So
Right.
maybe it's a viable career option. So it's just like if I become successful in engineering,
Mm.
my parents might be more comfortable putting my brother in
Right.
engineering.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's like that. You have to do it yourself. You have to do it to show it. You can't just say
Mhm.
word. You can't just attend conferences and become confident and that.
Like, yeah, certainly, like your role, you are a grid modernization engineer. Who has heard of that, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't even a position before I joined. So
Right, exactly.
your
So
own paths and
so
yeah,
you're creating your own path. There's like caring for environment is big business around the world, right?
yeah, yeah. And there's the common misconception is you know um, environmentalism to activism. And while
Mhm.
activism is a big part of it, and it is, I don't know why it is not as respected as it should be, because I personally, I don't have the courage to be an activist.
Right.
Do you know how much courage it takes
Mhm.
to devote yourself to something like that? But
Right.
even keeping that aside, if you want a corporate job and you
Mhm.
still want to do environmental engineering or work in sustainability, you can still do that.
Yes.
Uh, there's a lot of jobs nowadays on the market that you can do that, and you can start your own company. You
Mhm.
know,
No, no,
startups enter the national consciousness. Do something that you like and make money off of it. There's a lot of avenues. It doesn't need to be an either or anymore.
right. No, thank you so much, Tirthak. Day Out with a Star, the platform that we have started, and people can go it at dayoutwithastar.com, where we welcome mentors like you. People can book time with mentors like you and really think of something bigger than themselves, which can help the society and give you great happiness. Tirthak, thank you and best of luck for your future. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much.